Hello everyone, I'm Weston's Weatherwise, and this is another video forecast. In today's video, I break down upcoming severe weather and the upcoming tropical activity that may affect your area. Now, going on with the day one outlook today, you can see we do actually have a slight risk of severe weather in play across portions of North Dakota and South Dakota. And then we have a pretty decent size marginal risk on the outside of this. So we're definitely going to be watching. And today is a day that you need to remain weather aware, as we do have a 5% chance of tornadoes in southern North Dakota and parts of South Dakota, and a pretty large 2% risk of tornadoes. And honestly, I would not be surprised to see a conditional strong tornado risk somewhere in that 5% risk area. We will just have to keep an eye on it though, but I would not be surprised if we saw maybe a strong tornado today. We do have a 15% wind and a 15% hail risk too. Moving on to tomorrow, severe weather should die down some. A marginal risk level 1 out of 5 of severe weather is in play from portions of Nebraska back up into portions of Minnesota. Although this corridor right here, I am kind of watching for maybe a slight risk of severe weather to be added. And we may end up getting a 2% tornado risk. We will just have to watch. But as of now, we have a 5% wind and a 5% hail risk and no tornado risk in play. Moving on to the day 3 outlook, we have a very weird marginal risk, but it's a very big one, extending from portions of Washington back into portions of Nebraska. So we're definitely going to be watching this closely, and I would not be surprised to see a slight risk of severe weather added somewhere in here in a future outlook. And last thing on our outlooks, this is the day 4 outlook. We actually have a 15% chance of severe weather on Friday, August 8th. This does look to be more of a damaging wind threat, but we cannot entirely rule out a few tornadoes, although it is a bit early to get into specifics. Now moving on to what radar could look like today, and if we go ahead and push this forward some, we're going to see here around the lunchtime hour to around 3 o'clock, we are going to see some storms start to bubble up again today. And this is an area right there. If we could get like one of these southernmost storms to split off, I would not rule out a strong tornado. And as you can tell, moving forward, we do look like these are going to evolve into more of a clustered line. And I would not be surprised to see a 30% hatched wind risk added today either. So we're just going to have to watch it closely. And I will update you with the latest whenever we need to. And moving on to the NAM-NST model, it's kind of showing that same picture. Storms are going to go up and congeal into a line. So I'm definitely watching this closely. It does look like a tornado threat could dominate in the beginning lifespan of these storms, but as they evolve into a cluster, we're going to have to be watching for more of that spin-up tornado risk. Moving south for today, or for tomorrow, I should say, here's what we could expect back in the Central Plains. Some storms may bubble up tomorrow afternoon back there in portions of Nebraska and Iowa, but overall it's a pretty low chance that we see anything big. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on it, but just going to watch it very closely across that area. Now moving on to the long range, this is the jet stream. And you are probably getting familiar with this as I show you this a lot. But as we look forward, we can see our jet stream may try and dip a bit further to the south here in the future. And that would allow for more severe storm events across portions of the central and southern plains. So I do actually think severe weather may be on the rise across this area as we head into mid-August. So we're definitely going to be watching it closely. And also, hurricane season is about to kick into full swing, and we will go over that in a minute. But there's lots of things that could happen, lots of scenarios. So we're going to watch it closely and update with you with the latest as we need to and as often as possible. And here's what radar could look like. As you can tell, it actually looks like it may get a bit quieter, but I do actually think we may see more of a active setup back in the southern plains. But we're just going to have to watch it. Watching August 15th, too, for a potential tropical system to come into Florida or surrounding areas. It's way too far out to say this is going to happen or anything, but it's just a signal that we have to watch. And moving on to the European model, it's going to show that same thing as we push forward here. So, like I said, we're just going to have to watch it closely. And the European model, if we go ahead and head over to precipitation, this is what radar could look like on the Euro. And it's kind of painting that same picture of the GFS. Just going to have to watch this closely. And like I had said, it does actually look like we are going to get a return of severe weather a bit farther to the south, actually. Probably across some of these areas, which are areas that haven't seen severe weather in a decent amount of time. And it hasn't really been constant either, but I do think moving forward we could start to see more severe weather in that area. And moving on to our disturbances here, I'm going to start in the Eastern Pacific, where we actually have a tropical storm, and I believe that is pronounced Henriette. I'm a bit unsure on pronunciation on that, but we do have a tropical storm, and there are some signals that this could track into Hawaii, but we're just going to watch it. Right now, the NHC has this tracking a bit further to the north of Hawaii, but we're just going to have to watch it. And then we actually do have a chance of development right here off the west coast of Mexico and Central America. 90% chance of formation in 7 days and 60% in the next 2. And here is that forecast from the National Hurricane Center. You can tell here are the Hawaiian Islands right here. And you can tell it does look like it's going to curve up to the north of them, which is a good thing. So we're just going to have to watch it closely, and I will update you with anything that we need to update you with if this is going to make landfall on Hawaii. And moving on to the Atlantic, and this is a big story here. And one thing that is really catching my eye is this system back here. I'm definitely watching this one very closely, as this one could definitely pose some problems. But we do actually have Tropical Storm Dexter, too. This is just going to be a fish storm. And then we actually have 2 areas that we are watching for some development. One back there to the east of Florida and the Carolinas, and another one back here to the west of Africa in our main development region. And I'm watching this mainly because there is still a bit of model discrepancy on whether this is going to become a fish storm and just hook out, whether it's going to go ahead and track up like through the Carolinas maybe, like that, or if this could even come into Florida or into the Gulf of America. We are definitely going to have to be watching this. And if I go ahead and show you, this one we do have a 0% chance in the next 48 hours, but a 50% chance in the next 7 days, and a 40% chance in the next 7 days, and a 10% right here off the coast. And here is Tropical Storm Dexter's path. Like I had said, it is going to remain a fish storm, so nothing too crazy. Now, moving on to the GFS, and this is just one scenario, keep in mind, that could happen. And pushing this forward here, we're going to watch that main development region here. And we're kind of watching, this is our system right here. You can tell we have disorganized showers and thunderstorms right now. As we go through the week, we could develop a low pressure system near the Leslie Antilles. So we're going to have to watch. And if this is going to end up hitting the Carolinas or something, now keep in mind, we are not going to see a 952 millibar low pressure system hit North Carolina. I promise you. This is very far out and things are going to change. That is just one scenario that could happen. And this is the European model. You can see the disorganized showers and thunderstorms right now. And this is kind of a crazy scenario that I'm seeing, kind of like the GFS. But this has this tracking all the way up through the Gulf and a 941 millibar low pressure system. Yeah, that's intense. Is this going to happen? No, I promise we are not going to see a 941 millibar low pressure system track up through the Gulf and hit any of the Gulf states. And this is the GEFS. So this is the ensemble, the GFS ensemble. And what we watch here are for any of these pockets, like right here, because we see blue on your screen. And whenever we start to see these like yellowish orange, those are indications of some tropical systems. So we definitely watch those very closely whenever we see them. And as we move forward here, you can tell in that main development region, we're having to watch here for something to develop. And once we see this orange start to mix in, that is usually a more organized area. So we are definitely watching this closely. And this blends a lot of the runs together, so you can see a lot of the scenarios here that could occur. So we're just going to have to watch this closely, and I will update you with the latest as I can. As often as I can, I should say. And we have surpassed 1,030 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for all the amazing people that support me. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new here. And I will see you in the next one.